They haven't reached out and gone, "Oh, Mum." They've reached out and gone, "Mummy!" Because they're no longer those adults in pain. They are those free, vital little children again, reaching out for their mummies and their daddies. There is reunion and ongoing connection. Our character, if you like, is our passport in the spirit world. As I've said, if you live your life aright now, not waiting till you make that moment of transition, then you are giving yourself a front row seat. You're giving yourself the best house, that glass of champagne as soon as you arrive, if you will. There is no sadness in the spirit world. Only sadness for us. There is no grief in the spirit world. Only grief for us. And as physical entities, it's hard for us to understand that. Why are our families not missing us? Why are they not grieving? They're closer to us now than they ever were because there's not that physical separation. Closer than they ever were. So they're not sad. The only time they have sadness of any form is when they see us grieving and sad. So let us live as best we can now, as if we are already citizens of that summer land, making our way, creating our passports to seek our future of progression in the spirit world. And that's, for now, all I would like to say. And I would love for any questions, anything that you would like to put to me, any of your own experiences that you would like to add for the rest of our time together.
I'll start it off, Dawn.
Yes, sir.
About 10 or 12 years ago, if not longer, I was called to my uncle's bedside to say that he was passing and would I go and sit with him, which I did with the family. And lastminute.com, his son he hadn't seen for about 10, 15 years, walked through the door.
Oh.
And his name was Ray. He was laying there, and then I looked over behind some curtains where there was some equipment, and I saw my nan and granddad come through the curtains.
Beautiful.
And my nan was the sort of person who would have said your full name, and she went, "Raymond, it's time to come home."
Oh.
And I saw his body lay flat, but his spirit raise up and go head first into the spirit. Nan, it sounds daft, but Nan opened the curtain so he could go through.
Oh.
And my granddad said, "Hello, Raymond," waved to me, and he went, and it was very tearful.
I bet.
But it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And just one other thing, we had a member who used to come here, Kathy. She was an orphan. She'd been brought up to her teens in a child home. She had no parents, no family, no nothing. And she was always scared. She used to tell me about dying alone. And I'd got a phone call one night that she was in Kingston Hospital and she's about to pass. So Jackie took me up there. It was about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was round the bed with another person from the church. And I said a little prayer. And you could see nicely she was gently going. And then the nurses turned up in front of the curtains. If you can't see them, but I can hear them. And they went, "Well, Kathy will be dead by the morning. We can cancel her breakfast, cancel her evening meal. And we won't need this, and we can change her bed, and do this, and this, and this." And I poked my head round. They jumped, because they didn't know we were there. And more importantly, I saw Kathy go rigid. And I said to the nurse, "She's going to be here for another 2 or 3 days." and she was. And she went when she was ready, not when.
Yeah.
Because one of the things she had in life, I was always told what to do. And I'm not going to be told what to do when I'm dying. And she just gently and very quietly went into the Spirit. And it's a job, I think, it's a very great deal of honour when you sit with somebody.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Absolutely, it is.
I've been sitting with people on and off since about 1976. And they're all different, they're all unique.
Yep.
And I've gone to people and they've, one of our past presidents here, Jimmy Collins, he was gently going and his wife screamed at the top of her head, "Jimmy, don't leave me." He shot back up, his body lifted on the bed. It was that violent, for want of a word. And I said to Jimmy's daughter and son, "Take Kay for a coffee or something." And I just said to Jim, "She's gone now.
Let him go." Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
And I got a right telling off from Kay, but Jim needed to go. He had cancer and he was in pain, and the pain meds weren't working.
Yeah.
The highest form of morphine he could have wasn't touching him, and he needed to go. She accepted that in the end, but she didn't want to be alone.
No.
And I get that as well. Yeah. And you have to put in. So I went to give somebody some prayers, and I walked in, and this young son of hers came up to me and said, "Are you my mum's minister?" Yeah, and he punched me in the face.
Oh my gosh.
And knocked me down on the floor, and this sort of John Wayne brawl started because families had split, separated, and they blamed the church. And I remember sitting on the floor thinking, well, I didn't expect that. So I think it's a privilege to be with people in their last few moments. Jackie, you wanted to say anything? Hang on.
We've got plenty of time.
Thank you. Yeah, it's mostly peaceful passings. What can happen is, I mean, when you're on end of life, most of the time you might be on a syringe driver, you're on things to help that physical.
Thank you.
When a person is end of life, they tend to be sedated quite a lot.
Yeah, I've got it.
And so they experience that sense of although it's their time to go, the body wants to survive. It's that natural need to, and so sometimes there can be a subconscious physical need to try and survive. So there will be involuntary muscular movements, and it looks to the family as if the person is in terrible pain. But it's not. It's a natural, it's like if you were, you can't suffocate yourself, You can't hold your own breath and try and suffocate yourself because the body is desperately trying to preserve life, So when you're at that point of transition, for many people, it's a very smooth, beautiful passing. But it can be upsetting for the family when there's that last, there's that last moment of trying to sort of rally.
Yes, it's just that sort of fighting for breath.
Yeah. It's just a physical reaction.
It's just instinctive.
Yeah, it's just instinctive. Absolutely. It's not the spirit and the mind is already gone.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's just the physical.
Oh, that's lovely. Glad I asked. Also, when you said about farmers doing the jobs they love,
yes,
I hadn't thought we might be hairdressing. I know it's a silly question.
Absolutely. Ladies like to look their best, don't we? And and you chaps, there'll be barbers that love their jobs. I mean, if you've ever been to a Caribbean barber, you're not just going there for a haircut. You'll be lucky if you even get a haircut. You'll be there just for the conversation, So in heaven, there are barber shops, there are beauticians, for people who loved the artwork, they love to create. and they love to have a blooming good chat. So they'll be doing that. There'll be places up there like that.
It's somewhere to be, isn't it?
Totally.
Just being floating and nowhere. You've got a place to be.
There are jobs. But they're not jobs where you earn money. And they're not jobs so that people go, oh, isn't she wonderful? Isn't he great because he does that? It's jobs for service. It's service. It's not a job, it's a service that you're doing.
It's good to have that sort of thoughts in your mind, isn't it? I mean, we're quite elderly now, so these things do enter your head sometimes.
Yes, of course. So if you're a hairdresser, you'll definitely be hairdressing.
Oh my God, I'm fed up with it. I've had enough.
Doctors, and when you cross over, some people are in a state of shock, especially if it's been like a freak accident, for instance.
Of course, yes.
You know, or you were stoic that there was no spirit world, there is no such thing as heaven. You know, then you're going to be in shock when you find out, oh, there is something else. I've woken up and I can breathe. I'm here. You know. So there's going to be a moment of shock, or if you've been in a freak accident where you were in a wheelchair, or you lost your legs. All of a sudden you've got legs and you can walk and you're not in a wheelchair anymore. You know, so it's going to become as a shock to you. Therefore, there will be doctors who worked on the earth plane. There will be, psychologists who worked on the earth plane. There will be all sorts of people that will help you. But it won't be a physical help. It will be an emotional help to let you know that you don't need that wheelchair. You don't need those plasters. You can walk.
Those walking sticks.
Yeah, you don't need any of that because it will be a shock for you. You know? So that's where we have that privilege, I think, as spiritualists. We have that privilege of knowing already that we won't need that wheelchair, we won't need that stick. You know, we have that luxury of knowing that already.
I've got two friends that are near. One's 99, one's 96, and they're both very frail.
Mm.
And when they tell me that they've passed, I sort of feel it's a happy, but they're going to be so sad, aren't they, their family? But they should know it's imminent.
Yes.
And be glad that it's happened and over.
Absolutely, you can't hold on, as painful as it is for us in the physical world. If we really pick apart what grief is, really pick it apart, and I myself have spent time doing this. Whenever we cry, all we're really doing is we're releasing all that pent-up, unspent love. That's all we're doing. Because we feel in our physical brains, we feel that we can't give love to that person anymore because they're not physically here. So every time we cry from our grief, all we're doing is showing that unspent love. That's all it is. And the fact that we're wanting them to stay is, for want of a better word, a selfish thing.
Selfish, I can see that.
Because you wouldn't want a person to stay in a broken body.
No.
You know?
No.
So we want them to stay for us. And what we're not understanding is that there's no physical time. Time is a physical thing. It's purely a physical thing. In the spirit world, we don't have that. So when you're thinking, my dad's been dead for 20 years, in the spirit world, it's a passing of about 5 minutes. You see? So there really is no separation. So when you want the person to stay, it's purely a selfish thing.
Yeah, because it was my dad, even though my dad was ill and couldn't survive, It was my dad.
Exactly.
Mm.
But when you see him again, he won't see you as a mature lady. And you won't see him as an old man. You will reach out to him when he comes to get you. You'll reach out to him as daddy. You'll be his little princess again. And that's exactly how it will be.
Thank you. You explained that very well. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Bless you.
And Dawn, I've got a couple of questions I wanted to ask, but if you don't mind me saying, I'd just like to say to Daphne as well, you know, with you doing the hairdressing, it's not any of the drudgery, it's not going to be hard work, but it's the creative flair of it.
Exactly.
And if you imagine that somebody that may have gone over in a very difficult situation, that may wake up in a hospital, the doctors and nurses, you might be called upon to say to them, I mean, they may have passed with cancer, lost all their hair, then you'd have a role as the hairdresser with the creativity of saying, look, you can have any hair style that you want, in any colour that you want, at any age that you were the happiest at.
Absolutely.
And you would help them through that, because they won't necessarily see themselves in the perfect body. So therefore, that would be the role. So it would be a creative role. It wouldn't be, oh, I'm going to wash people's hair for the next millennium. You know, it would be that creative thing of being able, you know, to do that. Or you may be a muse for a young teenager that's at college.
Exactly. You could be a guide for someone who's on the earth plane, who's just starting out, you know, in their hairdressing career, and you'll be able to advise. You'll be you'll be holding their hands as they're using the scissors. You'll be helping that person.
You'll be whispering, try it this way.
Yeah.
Try it this way.
Yeah.
So it's all that creative. It's same with the artists, same with the musicians, about being muses and inspiring the people that are here on the earth.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I wanted to ask a couple of difficult questions.
Please.
Dawn. And then I'm sure that other people will then think, even if it's the simplest of question about what life is like in heaven or about our passing. But, you know, I passed you an article from the London Spiritualist from 1947 that said, and I was amazed actually that as far back as 1947 it was going to the Lords about the idea of helping people pass with dignity at a time when they would need to, when people are terminally ill, and we know it's only a matter of days or weeks.
I believe they call that an easy death in that article.
Yes. And, you know, I just wondered, because I sort of see a role for us in the future, and I'd sort of like your opinion, because if people are going to be able to know when they're going to pull the plug, then we may get called upon to actually be there to assist families, because they'll be able to plan it. They'll be able to say, well, you know, I've told Mum's only got another couple of weeks, instead of a couple of weeks of suffering, because not all of the passings, you know, are pain-free. As you say, some of the painkillers don't end up working in the end. No. But, you know, if we can speed that up, then I just wonder how you feel as a minister. If you can see that we will have a role in being able to be there to assist the family through the transition, and showing them how, as I say, when we grieve and we cry, we're doing that for ourselves. And it's nice to know that somebody misses us when we're in spirit, you know, that they might shed tears. Because in some way, if you went to your own funeral from heaven and you didn't see that anyone was upset, then you might think, oh, I thought I meant a bit more to people than that. Yeah. So there isn't anything wrong with showing your grief. But I just wondered how you feel if we almost need, you know, to create a new minister's service for people to say that I've chosen my farewell today, and I'm grateful that my family are with me, and you know, I do this because I know that my journey goes on for me. So how do you feel that maybe open up to us?
That's a beautiful question, and I've been in my funeral services that I've done. It's not. And I try always to make it not just a moment of sadness and grief, but especially through the reflection moment in the service, but a celebration of their life. And I make a point of saying to people that the best way to celebrate the life of the one that you love is to make the most of your own life. And I think, just like you've said, I think to make a celebration, to have a party with that person, you know, rather than sit there being sad and saying, oh, please don't go, don't make this decision, don't do this, you know. If you're forewarned that this person is of sound mind and they want to make this decision and this is what they've decided, then I think to be able to help them, to be able to help the family to spend a joyful time with that person at the end, within their means, is the best thing that we can do to help the family and to help the person who will eventually be passed. Because the last thing you want as a person who is passing is to have that weighing on your shoulders that, should I not do this because of my family? As opposed to, I've got the peace of my family's blessing on me, allowing me to do this. So I can go in peace. I'll know that they'll be okay. Yes, they'll be sad, they'll be grieving, but I know that I have their blessing. And I know that those last days that we spent together were ones of reminiscing, ones of joy, ones of perhaps doing something on my bucket list with them. You know, I think if we can be a part of that, you know, to allow them to dig deep and celebrate and make the most those last memories joyful ones, as opposed to those last memories being negative ones. I think that would be a huge thing for us ministers to be able to do. Almost like you've attended your funeral. So I recently watched actually a YouTube video of an elderly man who was terminal, and he organised his own wake. He organised a party. He didn't want to wait to not be there. He wanted to celebrate with his loved ones. He wanted a shindig right now. And he had the most amazing party. He didn't take any of his painkillers. He didn't take any medication, because that would have slowed him down and made his brain foggy. He had the most amazing party, and they made the most incredible memories, rather than sitting around his bed and waiting for him to die.
I understand that. In fact, my aunt, she had a party for a few months before she went, because she wasn't quite sure where she was going to go, but she had a brain tumour, so while she was still able to know that she was in the body, she had a party for everyone.
Absolutely.
And what I've tried to do, and if anyone listening online has got any addresses from any of our famous, well-known spirit guides, because the only one I found so far is from Silverbirch, and he's against the idea of helping someone, and he said the soul only leaves when it's the time for the soul to go.
Yeah.
But the fact is, we have intervention by having strong painkillers,
yes,
and having oxygen and being on machines that help us and regulate us. And then it seems the only way to do that is then to have a slow starvation and a dehydration to the body, which then can take the body several days to be able...
painful.
To me, then, you know, when Silverbirch was in his famous circles, and some of them were pre-Second World War, you know, there was a time where you couldn't keep people, you couldn't feed people artificially, you couldn't keep people. So, you know, I do hope that there are some addresses there, or perhaps we ought to start writing them in about saying that, because I do think that's something we need to go into the 21st century. Yeah. But unless somebody else has got another question, what I'd also like to ask is...
I love talking about this. So there's few things I love more than talking about the spirit world, so you can carry on.
No, that's all right, because I know we had one or two more people come in, and I would like some people to ask a question, because we got the opportunity. But also when people pass and they've been in a coma a long time, or they've had dementia.
Yes.
You know, about, because I actually believe, and I don't know if you might agree or disagree with me, that when somebody has got full-blown dementia, that they are in the spirit world rather than the physical. That it's just they haven't, you know, crossed over, they haven't cut the silver thread, and that they're only staying in the physical body as a home. Yeah. But, you know, I don't understand, and when I've asked a few people when they've been in trance, for their opinions from spirit about, you know, why they can't go, because to me it's an entrapment, and they say, oh no, the soul is learning, and I'm sorry, I don't agree. You know, perhaps I'm not learned enough to understand it, but I like to say I do not see and understand why the body would, or the soul would find
Continue.
a learning thing, because is it the learning of the suffering of the family that visit them time and time?
This is what I was going to say. I agree with you, and I also slightly disagree, but agree. I agree that why would we... Yes, sorry.
What I was going to say, following on from Jackie, I sat with Coral Poles once in a group of people, it's like it after, and she actually drew a picture of someone, and the person said, "That's my mum," but she hasn't died yet, and Coral said,
Yes, right.
"Has she got dementia?"
Yep.
She said, yes. Well,
Yep.
because she said, "You've shown a picture of my mum when she was fit and well."
Yes. Yeah.
And we then found out a few days later she did pass. But Coral says she had a lot of those. She was drawing people, or even in comas, that were going to be passing.
Yeah.
Gordon Higginson once said, people in comas are more on the spirit side of life than they are on the earth.
Of course they are, yeah.
So it's just, I think, also, silver birch, zodiac, red cloud and white eagle have ways of checking up what their teachings are. You can type a word in or whatever. So maybe I'll try and sort that out, get somebody to do that for us.
Absolutely. When I feel that there isn't anything for us to... There's nothing for the person who is suffering to gain from being here as such, because their brain is off in memories of their childhood, you know. I know for myself, when I've spent a long time working in elderly care when I was younger, and they would often be talking about, "Oh, when's my mum coming home?" You know, and I would, rather than say, "Oh, your mum's been different," I would say, "Oh, mummy's gone to the shops, but she's left you with me, and she's fine. She'll be on her way home soon. Let's have a cup of tea. Let's play." Sort of distraction techniques, you know. That's all. So their brain is no longer here. Their spirit, their soul is just their physical body, really, that's hanging on, as you said. But what they have done is, I believe they've made a contract to say, what can my family experience? And that family member made a contract with them to say, I want, as painful as it is for us, and we don't understand why we would go through that, I want to experience compassion. I want to experience this great, great pain so that I can have the compassion for someone else who is going through agony and pain, suffering. I need to be able to experience that. But we don't remember that. So when we are suffering now, you have to think to yourself, but that's what you wanted. You know, as painful as it is. But it's not for the person. It's not for the person who's got the dementia. It's for the family member to have that experience, as horrendous as it is, and that having to let go. And it is agony. It is agony. But I've had messages from people come through where I've said, with one particular time where I said, I've got your son with me. And he's talking about this, and she said, my son's here. He's not passed. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I've made some sort of mistake. And I'm thinking, well, no, I haven't, because I feel it so strongly. I must have got it slightly wrong. And it transpired in the end that he had severe autism, and he was non-verbal, completely non-verbal. But he wanted to convey to his mum a thank you for all the things she does, and an awareness of what she does for him. And I was able, because his mind is so innocent, the same as how close you are to when you're in end of life. How, or for instance, like you were saying, how when you are in a coma, you're closer to that, to the spirit world. I think if you are so innocent like that, you've not really separated yourself from the spirit world. So he's able to communicate to his mum, whereas he's physically non-verbal. I hope that kind of, gives you my... So I know it's incredible agony for the family to have to deal with that. But really, sorry, Ray.
Sorry, Dawn, I'll say when you're finished.
And really, when the person is is in a state of dementia, they are not living our modern life, They're back in those happy times when they were a child, and music is really emotive for them. Certain foods will be really emotive for them. Give them sticky toffee pudding and they'll remember how their mum made it, and it will take them straight back. The only time I ever remember someone being really mentally upset about having dementia was at the beginning, when they knew there was something wrong. And I remember one of them saying to this beautiful lady, I was sat on her bed, and she said to me, "I'm losing my marbles, aren't I?" And that was the only time I ever knew her to be upset. After that, her family were upset, of course. But she was happy. She was happy. Yes, Ray?
My dad had to go into hospital for a test, and he was on a drip, but it was one of those frames that was really old-fashioned heavy drip. And cut a long story short, for other reasons, he needed to go to the toilet.
Yes.
He asked to go, and they said, "We're short-staffed tonight, no one can escort you, can you use that?"
Yeah.
And he said no. So he made his way to the toilet by himself, then fell over and broke his hip. And he had to have emergency surgery. There was about a week or so, wasn't it, I think? Backwards and forwards with different things happening to him. And cut a long story short, a lot of people around me said, "Oh, poor old Del, this, that and the other." I said, "Poor old Del, no. If he had done as he's told that night," but I accept that was part of his journey. Yeah. And we did our best to make his passing as good as we could as a family. And family could not have wanted for a better intensive care nurse. She was absolutely fantastic. Mm. And then to find out afterwards that it was her first case. Oh. But the difficult thing I had was trying to make sure Mum was all right, because Mum had a heart problem and bits and pieces. Yeah. And we said prayers, and then we just chatted amongst ourselves. And then suddenly Mum called over and she said, "I think he's gone." Yeah. Because my dad, looking at him now, he had a real fear of dying. A total scared fear of dying. And I think the way he went in the end, he passed on the Sunday night, Rachel and I feel, because he was brain dead, we think, from that night. But they kept him alive for one reason or another, which was quite valuable and important. Because I don't think Dad would have liked to have been conscious, people prodding and poking. Yep. Yeah. And his passing in the end was as gentle as any passing can be. And still miss him now physically. Of course you do. I miss the physical presence. And I want to say that to people as a spiritualist. The joke I had when Dad first passed, I said, "How are you coping?" I said, "First time in my life I know where he is 365 days of the year. I've got no doubt where he is," sort of thing. Because my dad was a child of the 50s and 60s, and he ducked and dived like the best of them. He did in South London. But the thing was, it was relatively a good passing, if there's such a thing. Yeah, absolutely. The good death, they call that. Yeah. But, it wasn't... Somebody close in the family wanted to sue the hospital, this, that and the other. I said... What will that get you? Dad's choice in the end. And one of the things he did when I was there with him when he woke up and he was lucid for about 15 minutes, he said, "Don't sue the hospital, it's my so-and-so fault." I should have listened.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like your dad, one, had the dignity he wanted. He was right up to the end given exactly the way he wanted it to be. He was given his peace. He was surrounded by his family. He was around you while you were all sat there chatting, you know, as opposed to sat there holding his hand and crying. You were all there chatting, being normal around him.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like, you know, and the fact that if what you're right in saying is that he was brain dead, he was probably looking down upon you all while you were sat there chit-chatting and looking at his family. He wouldn't have been in pain.
It was a remembrance service 14 years ago. We was at Hatbridge and we got a phone call from the hospital and they asked me how long had Dad been unconscious. And I said, you're the nurse, you tell me.
Yeah.
And Rachel and I went up there. We were up there to gone midnight, that's not an issue.
Yeah.
But the doctor said, I'll be back before 12. I'm going off duty. And he went off duty and didn't tell us. There's those little things niggle.
Yeah.
Not the passing, not the condition. Because I don't think they always understand how important it is to get someone to release something to the family.
Yeah.
Because Rachel and I could have gone home a couple of hours before that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And as I said to someone, and I said to the family, he was out of it, so he wouldn't have been as scared.
No. And you're absolutely, and not forgetting, of course, always that element that he would not have ever been alone.
No, oh no.
You know, he would have had his mum, his dad.
Oh yeah, no, without
with
doubt,
him all the time.
Without doubt, hesitation.
You know,
I know that. But it was the fact that being on that end of it for the first time, where I've been on the other end as a pastor.
That's right.
Dealing with, and I'm trying to look after everybody else, especially Mum. Mm-hmm. And then it was some weeks later, I was watching a TV show about a man writing a letter to his dad who had passed, which brought it all out.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and because one person actually accused me of being having a breakdown because I was taking it too quietly and too cheerful. And I said, in the end, because we found out, well, I won't go into Dad's death certificate, but we found out so much wrong with Dad. He wouldn't have liked being pinned down indoors.
No.
Not all by himself, but by himself, without a car.
Yep.
Because he had to get out. He hated being a caged lion.
And feeling like he was a burden as well.
That as well.
Yeah.
Though he would have been good on the phone calling everyone, wouldn't he, Rachel Nash? I need a pint of milk or I need a loaf of bread. But it's the interesting thing, it's the same with my father-in-law. He suddenly passed from a strange experience through delirium. But his peaceful passing was such a release for him as well. Yeah. Because it got to a point he was feeling totally alone, though he had friends around him, and Jackie and I were close and we were doing as a family what we could. But he truly wanted to spend every moment in the pub. Yeah,
he wanted his normal life.
He wanted his normal life. So going back into that, Jackie's now said that Jackie conducted his funeral service. She said, Dad's in the heavenly arms.
I know exactly what you mean.
With
the arms,
glass,
the free house.
The right bar, the right stool.
Yep.
The right pint of beer.
That's it.
The right temperature of beer. Everything he could have wanted is there.
Yep. A pint glass with his name etched on it.
Whatever. And
always behind the bar.
He was a bit like that in a strange way. And then we often say...
Right, he just showed me a pint glass with gold etched around it. That's why I mentioned it.
He was like that. Where my dad was a little bit more reserved. Not much. So, but it's important how we as pastors and as we as family, because we've had the discussion within the family, which our two have not really enjoyed. No. Jackie wants, and if it's legal, she wants end of life if she's in pain and everything, and she's got a plan.
Okay.
That's all I will say. Jack's got a plan, and somebody else who will be named
as DNR.
part of that Yeah.
Exit strategy.
Jackie's
Yes.
got an exit strategy. She really has.
Okay.
And she hasn't liked it when she's discussed it with the kids.
No.
But she don't see, and I'm not anti, but I'm not sure yet
Yeah.
how I feel about that. I understand it.
Yes. You understand that's her wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That because what we have done, we've given our bodies over to medical science.
Yeah.
They'll have a laugh when they cut us open. But all jokes aside, we don't see want the expense of a funeral.
No.
Because even the cheapest funeral with a funeral director and cars is about £16,000 £17,000 now.
I know.
And I'm bit of an ex-florist, and I don't want flowers. I mean, I think my dad's cost us £12,000 14 years ago.
Cool.
And mum's was less than that.
Yeah.
Because dad wanted a different type of service. And I'm trying to practice what I believe as a spiritualist and virtually just have a memorial service here.
Yeah. Yeah. Not all that physical
music
stuff,
played
but
what I want, and food and drink outside or next door in the Irish club, which is ever easiest.
To go the way you lived.
Yeah. But I think it's difficult when you have that discussion with family because they don't think, though I think my two are getting used to the fact the quicker we go the better, causing them more grief and
they are thinking of what's left behind.
I can't see them on my blind side. But all jokes aside, it is a difficult conversation.
It's very difficult. I totally get it. I've put my
no other family and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've my wishes are to have my body given to you can have what you want basically. It's not going to do me any good. And I remember my mum being very upset about this, and she was concerned that my children wouldn't be able to view my body or things like that, and she was very worried about that. And she doesn't like talking about it. So we sort of made a pact that, we don't need to talk about it, but that's my wish. Okay, so we know that's happening, but that's my wish. And that's how I live my life. I want to try and help people. And if my body can do that for people after I've passed, then great. All I'm doing is continuing the way I lived. Yeah. And for Jackie or anybody who wants to have that dignity, if you will, or her wishes met, as awful as it is for us who are left behind, isn't it wonderful to have that knowledge at the end that we're able to plan, like Jackie said at the beginning, we're able to plan that time with her. We're able to say, right, this moment we know something's gonna happen on this such and such particular sort of ballpark area of time. Let's make all these memories with her now. Let's do all these things, as opposed to her having to go at a time where she is not coherent. She is at her worst. So family and friends, people who love her the most, will have to experience her suffering and have that lasting memory of her. Instead, you'll have her wishes, how she's lived her life, and she's pretty stubborn, isn't she? Let's be honest. I
plead the fifth.
I'm allowed to say that, I'm not her husband.
You're right.
So, for her to go in that way...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think...
Yeah. And just one other little thing. Coming from Brixton, South London, as I did in my youth, I went to a lot of West Indian and African funeral services.
The celebration.
Boy, are they celebrations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the phrase that always got me at all these, mainly West Indian services, was, oh, Mrs. Smith would have loved this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would say she probably is. And they go, I never thought of that.
It's just normal. Yeah,
and the strangest one was my dad went to a Nigerian chief's funeral, and Dad walked in very sombre, and then the chiefy, as we called him, stuck in a corner of his living room in his coffin upright, big smile on his face, and the family had paid for wailers.
Oh yes.
And they're screaming,
professional wailers,
shouting and shrieking.
Yeah.
And my dad said he couldn't wait to get out. It just wasn't. Then we go to, a couple of the funerals we went to were Pentecostal.
Yeah.
And how they all took turns to filling the grave.
That's right, they
and
do.
Singing
They
a
all,
hymn,
yeah.
and singing a song.
That's it.
And you actually think, that's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
One man said to me, it's my mother-in-law, so I just want to make sure you don't come back. But all jokes aside, I think the British have to look at the way we deal with some of this.
Yeah. Spirit have just asked me to point out, to say this to you all, to anyone who's listening, and this is really important. These are not my thoughts, these are Spirit coming close to me. When a baby is born, what do we do even before they're born? So when we find out the mother is pregnant, we're all excited. We start buying baby clothes. We get all excited. We have a little party for the mum or whatever. We decorate the baby's room. And then there's this, we buy balloons, there's this huge excitement. And when the baby is born, it takes its first breath and we all want to go see the baby. And there's a huge celebration because they've taken their first breath in this life. There should rightfully be the same level of celebration that person is taking their new breath into the next life. You know, it should be the same depth of celebration. I know that's difficult to think about, and it's even hard for me, but that's what the Spirit wanted me to convey to you. Yes, hello.
Hiya, I'm Lisa.
Hello, Lisa.
Hiya. There's two things. My ex, he chose his passing.
Yes.
Everybody was around him.
Beautiful.
And he wanted to watch Glastonbury.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did.
Perfect.
And he waited until we all gone, and he passed.
Yes.
But it was like he was laughing with us. We knew that it was going to be that day.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
It was.
Perfect.
Yeah.
As opposed to you sat around waiting.
But the build up to his passing meant him having healing here.
Mm-hmm.
And other places.
Yes.
But mainly here. He knew he was going to go, but he'd accepted it.
Yeah.
It was his awareness of the world around him was amazing. You know, it was like all the different colours.
Yes.
Like he would stop and go, "Oh my God, Lise!
Yes.
Did you see the colour of that flower?"
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
that is, you know, that is like amazing.
Amazing.
And he would just stop, and we'd have to stand and look at the flower
in awe.
Know? Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
And
That's
it was little things.
There's an absolute reason for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it was those little things that he had like a celebration of his life.
Mm-hmm.
So his and he was happy to go because he was in a hospice. Mm-hmm. He chose to do that because originally he wanted to stay at home.
Yeah.
But in the end, that's what he wanted, and that's what was arranged. And he went smiling, like, to the hospice. That's what he wanted.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So each bit was arranged how he wanted.
Perfect.
It was perfect. It really was. But also another thing, a couple of weeks ago I was given a message, and my dad had come from my mum. And they hadn't talked for like years.
Their understanding. We have so much judgment and anger. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So much judgment and anger and that separation when we're in the physical world. And all of that just melts away because you have a deeper understanding. You forgive. You don't hold on to junk like we do down here. You know, we hold on to little things and grudges, you know. And we lose that because we have a deeper understanding of what the bigger picture is when we pass over. All these petty little things, they're not important. And so the fact that he came, you know, for her, even though they hadn't spoken for a long, long time, it's totally understandable. And the fact that what you shared is what I said at the very beginning of the service today. The that was it your dad? Sorry.
Yeah, my dad.
Yeah, your dad.
From my mum.
That he was looking at flowers and going, "Oh my goodness."
No, that was my partner.
Oh,
That
sorry,
was
your
the
partner.
first one.
Sorry. Your partner saying, "Aren't these flowers
explain
incredible?" And you had to stop and go, well, "We can't see it the same way that you can, but if you say so, fair enough."
Yeah.
But the fact that he's seeing them like that is because he hasn't got those physical eyes so much. He's so close to the end of his life on the physical earth.
Yeah.
That he's seeing them in the way that the spirit world see them.
Yeah.
So if he sees flowers like that, imagine how the spirit world see us.
Mm.
They must look at us and think that we are the most beautiful, bright, gorgeous lights. Each one of us is the most beautiful thing they've ever seen, because they haven't got those physical eyes and that judgment. They lose all of that. So like when I was saying about how we taste the fruits of the trees in the spirit world that the farmers have, gardeners have created, their allotments, whatever, it's going to be delicious beyond our imagination. That rotten apple is going to be the most delicious thing you've ever tasted in your life.
See, my mum married to another man after my dad. Would they be is it completely different as in relationship wise? Because
do you mean was there forgiveness and
what do you mean? Would they all get on basically?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because all that judgment is and they would understand that you had to move on, or as long as you were experiencing love, then they would be happy about that, and like Ray says, they would be friends.
See, I found that with my dad and mum. I thought,
yeah, absolutely.
Jim Blythe, if you remember Jim, his three wives would come through in turn.
Yeah.
And say hello.
They'll all be hanging out together.
Another man in his Mary will remember Cyril. He had three wives. He didn't marry because he didn't want to be with. But he all were friends.
Yeah.
I find that really cool.
A close friend of the family, she married after a long time of being single, as it were, after her husband passed. And her and Norman had a front porch and a house together, because she told us. And she said, "And there's a spot here for Bob if he wants it." Yeah,
because like I was saying, we have our homes there. We're not all just floating around on clouds, playing harps. We have homes, we have vocations. We if you were a bus driver who loved the kids getting on the bus in the morning, loved the old girls getting on the and helping them, you'll be a bus driver there. You'll be doing, and you'll be ferrying people to, and it won't just be to get A and B, because it's just thought. You get to A and B through thought process, because there's no physical separation of place and time and space. But it'll be the effort of enjoying being a bus driver, enjoying being on the bus and talking, and enjoying the journey. That's what it is.
Interesting.
Can I just add to what Ray was saying about Cyril? He actually organised his own funeral, and he put his son out of his comfort zone totally, because he had to wear a pink shirt because everybody had to wear a coat, and he specified that his son had to wear a pink shirt. And he also made a cassette of what he wanted to say at his own funeral, so that was played.
Wow.
So that was that.
Yeah.
But what I really wanted to say is nothing to do with Cyril, it's my father.
Okay.
He was caused by something that happened at hospital to go into a coma, which he was in for a month. And as a largish family, we took it in turns to go, so many of us, each day, because he was on open order, to see him.
Yes.
And this was 4 years before I'd set foot in a spiritualist church. So none of that I knew.
No.
But we weren't miserable at his bedside. None of us. But we were there for Dad.
Yeah.
Just, we're here.
Yeah.
And I'd gone one specific day, and then the following day, in the evening, my then husband's come home from work, and I'd had this feeling, I really need to go and see Dad today.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, I've got to go. He said, but you went yesterday, you're going tomorrow. No, I've got to go today, It took me a long way round to get there. Buses weren't running quite as I needed, so it took me longer to get there, so I had to go 2 buses in a different way round. Got there, went in, and the family that were there visiting that time said, oh, hello. I said, I just felt I had to come. I said, okay. And the following day, I woke up with the most horrendous cold, which would have stopped me. I wouldn't have been allowed in.
Yeah, of course.
And before I got rid of the cold, my father passed. But I felt that someone was telling me something. And I know that it would have been my dad saying, come see me for the last time.
Yeah.
You know, it's no problem. Because he was and is my mentor. Always. Anything I didn't know about, I needed some information, ask Dad.
Yeah.
And even now,
He's still trying to guide you.
And then I do get that information.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that was to do with someone being in a coma, and that he was actually communicating. He communicated to me, say, look, one last time, come see me.
Yeah, he found a way of impressing upon you.
Yeah.
You know, to come and see him, and even the timing.
Yeah.
The fact that you were held up by having to get to, but things happen in that way. I don't believe anything happens by accident.
Definitely
It's
not.
all these things happen for a reason. So even though you weren't aware at the time as you are now, he found a way of impressing upon you.
Yes.
Yes. So for you to have that time, so that's beautiful. You were very, very fortunate, and he's obviously continued to guide you and to influence you in now.
Yes.
As you work.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for your work. Thank you.
Bless you.
Now, Daphne, did you have a question? So I'll bring the microphone up to you.
No, it's more a comment.
Hang on for the mic, Daphne, my love.
Otherwise, people won't hear.
I'm just going to take this. Daphne's she's very kindly given me a word as original for my throat, so I'm just going to take that.
Okay. And I do know we're going with Mary about communicating because somebody's going to pass and they want to see you one last time. But I also think an awful lot of time
It's for
people
you.
don't want their family there and they wait. You could have been there 3 days with them and you go out
That's
and have
right.
a shower and they choose that moment, or they make the lifts not work, or they do something to
Exactly.
stop you. But I
Yep.
just pass that over to
Definitely.
Daphne.
Absolutely right.
Okay. We're in our last 10 minutes of this.
No, I was just reflecting on what Ray was saying about the cost of a funeral.
Yes.
And in my mind, I've always wanted the type of funeral I've been to, which is the black cars, the black clothes,
Yeah.
black respect, the big word. But I've changed my ideas now, because all I want is my friends,
Yep.
simplicity, and just that atmosphere of like a village funeral, simple,
Yeah.
nice, don't really can't see all that now.
All that
It's
pomp
not
and
me.
ceremony.
Yeah, it's not me now.
Yeah. And what do you think made that shift for you?
But just listening now, I think,
Oh wow.
what it's all about.
Wow.
Yeah, what will people remember? They'll remember me, not my funeral, won't they?
They'll remember the black cars, the sadness.
Yeah, it's very miserable. Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black. If you think of the colour black, I'm so honoured, by the way, that you that you feel that way after today. If you think of the colour black, what we know of black is that it absorbs all colours, because black is all colours mixed together, Right. And it, like if you wear black on a hot day, like I am today, stupidly, you actually feel hotter because it draws in the light and makes you hotter. If you wear white, it reflects.
That's right.
So what you're doing by wearing black is you are drawing in more pain.
Oh.
You're not reflecting, you're holding it in. That's why there is a religion, I can't remember now, there's a religion where the children who are attending the funeral wear white. All the children. So it doesn't matter how old the children are. if the mother was, say, 80 when she passed or 90 when she passed for the funeral, and her children are like 70, 60, maybe even 70, they're still children.
Oh, okay.
So they will be wearing white.
Got it.
So all of her children, or all of his children, will be wearing white no matter how old they are, so that they are not absorbing the grief. They are reflecting it and therefore showing peace and joy for life rather than grief for death. So the very fact that you don't want to have black now, simply by being here today, because you want joy for your family that are left without, left behind on earth. You want them to remember the joy and the celebration of the life you had.
To me, that's a typical funeral, isn't it? It's what I've always known. It's showing respect by being bland, I suppose. But,
is it respect for how you feel, your grief that you're feeling? Or is it about respecting the person by showing them how joyful you are and thankful for the life that they had with you?
That's how it should be. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I've got a son in spirit world.
My mum's funeral, Mum wanted bright flowery colours.
Yep.
And one of my cousins said, I can't, you just wear black. And I said, it's disrespectful. I said, it's disrespectful not to do what my mum wanted.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I said, I'm not going to stop you wearing black.
Yeah, that's what you want to do.
And they said in the end, I felt so daft wearing black.
I'll bet.
I said, because how spiritualists we try to celebrate it is bright and light.
Yeah.
And can I just say one other thing, Dawn? I think you ought to finish, but you get to get home. I know you're not the best. Well, I know we're a few minutes early, but I think you need to finish, and everyone can.
Thank you. I do apologise for my cold.
Dawn Collinson, well done.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Oh. I need a stiff drink.
It's having a cold in this weather.
I know, it's not fair, is it?
No, I need a fan.
So, did you have one last question? Yes.
Is that me? Me.